You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. This is Friday morning edition that I have on Ask the Master Auto Technician with James and Anna Marie Morris. And one of the things we do here is we talk about your cars. We talk about politics too, but we also talk about your tires. There's a lot riding on your tires other than just you. You've got your family, you've got the car, you've got your important things inside there, and your tires are what get you from point A to point B safely. And I was reading yesterday, Hansson, that Michelin sent out a thing on Facebook talking about a lot of wrecks happen to inexperienced drivers with tires that are not safe. Did you happen to see that article that Michelin put out yesterday?
I did not read it yesterday. I'm sorry.
That's okay, but the point being is how inexperienced drivers are not, they haven't practiced or they don't have enough experience driving in the rain, and if tires are, say, 30 seconds or less, they don't have the ability to stop. And they were talking about the importance of good rubber, good traction, especially for those that are, well, inexperienced.
Well, and that's absolutely true. Not only, the tread depth is important, but sometimes age. I see people that only drive, a couple times a week going to the grocery store or to church, and the tires still have lots of tread on them.
Right.
But they're 5 years old, and the rubber compound is just not soft anymore, and it doesn't really want to stick, and people go, wow, I had to stop, and it was rainy outside. And the car really didn't want to stop. Now,
we talk about that car tires being 5 years old, and I'm sure you probably have told people that before, and they look at the tires and go, well, the tires look perfect, and you tell me my tires are 5 years old and they're dangerous. What are some of the things that people, to prove or point, they need to look at, that they may not be paying attention to, even though there's a lot of rubber on the tires? What are other little telltale signs besides the age of the tire that gives it away that the tire is not safe?
Well, what we see a lot of times is choppiness. And if the tire's a little choppy, that means the contact patch, which is the part that's supposed to be touching the road, is not flat anymore. And that gives it less surface, touching each other, the road and the tire touching, and that can also change the way that the car stops or handles in an emergency situation.
I didn't think about that. Now, that choppiness, is that because of people not rotating their tires, or just because the compound of the tires is getting harder, or the
tire
shocks?
Rotation is, one thing that everybody kind of skips over a lot of times. And people go like, well, I thought I rotated them. And the rule of thumb always is 6 months, 6,000 miles, no matter what.
Yeah, getting the customers to do that.
Most tire manufacturers won't even warranty the tire unless you've done that.
Well, and that's something I see a lot of people, they'll sit there and they'll say, well, I change my oil every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. I said, you need to rotate your tires. They go, well, I'd never do that. If I did that, I'd be paying over $100 or maybe almost $200 for an oil change with synthetic oil and all that. And I go, well, how much does a set of tires cost? And they stop for a second and go, well, you got a point there. A set of tires on my truck are about $1,200. I go, yeah, that was the last time you bought them. I don't know what they cost now, but they're not getting cheaper, are they, Hansson?
No, you think that over time and oil prices being lower, unfortunately, really hasn't affected, the cost of tires that much. Tires are about the same that they were 2 years ago in most categories, but in other categories, like you said, truck tires have actually gone up a little bit.
I think it's because they got more trucks out there. Everybody's buying trucks.
That's the whole thing. You're absolutely right. The tires that are most popular are, of course, going to be more expensive. And truck tires, being very popular these days, are pretty expensive.
Now, speaking of expensive tires, the run-flat tires out there. That's something I was talking to a guy the other day, Rob Lapham. He has a Mini that has run-flat tires on it. And I was talking about you shouldn't drive a tire flat. And he said, well, I have run-flat tires because I don't have a spare tire. And I said, that's true. You do have, run-flat tires. But what is a rule of thumb about run-flat tires? If you have run them flat, does that mean?
But again, it depends on the manufacturer. Some manufacturers recommend that you throw it away and start new.
All right.
Other manufacturers do allow you to repair them. And they say if you do a correct repair, it'll be as good as new.
Okay, now run flat tires. Now, what makes them run flat tires? I mean, I have to ask because I really don't know. Is it just cause the thickness of the sidewall, or?
That's absolutely right.
Oh,
the sidewall is thick enough to support You know, the weight of the vehicle,
Okay.
usually 4,000 or 5,000 pounds. You're
Wow.
not going to find run flat tires for a truck. It's just
Oh, you
too
won't.
heavy.
Okay, I didn't know about tires. I didn't know for trucks. I didn't know if there was run flat for trucks or not. So, run flat tires are mainly for medium to small size cars.
Absolutely. You know, if you have a sports car, Camaros,
Right.
Mercedes, BMWs,
They can have run flats.
and you want to make sure that you get run flats again. We see a lot of people that choose to get a less expensive option, and then unfortunately, what happens is you don't have a spare, and you're stuck on the side of the road.
Very true. Now, I want give me a percentage-wise. How much more expensive are run flat tires than non-run flat tires, percentage-wise?
Actually, it's not going crazy. You know, you're looking at probably 20-25% more.
Okay, so if a tire costs $200 for your car, a non-run flat tire, a run flat tire would probably cost about $250. Just
That's
guessing.
correct.
Okay, I'm just rounding things off, making sure we all understand. So you're going to spend about 25% more for a run flat tire. What are the advantages of a run flat tire? Because I know I've got some people that want them, and you know, even though they didn't come with run flat tires.
Well, you know, I mean, a lot of people that are disabled or elderly or just want the safety of not having to get out of the car and change the tire, being able to go, you know, 20, 30 miles,
True.
and then be able to get the car fixed. I do see a lot of people choosing that option, and some manufacturers have embraced that and are making more and more tires, like Bridgestone is, that will fit just about any vehicle, car, not truck again.
Not truck.
And that, because, you know, if you're in a family and you're on a road trip, you don't want to stop and get out and change a tire.
No.
You can safely go 20 to 30 miles, no problem. Go to somewhere that can repair the tire or get you another tire, and it's a lot more convenient.
All right, now we have people out there that, don't have run flat tires. They don't have a spare either. Give an example, my wife's Crossfire. No spare in it, no run flat tires on it. But they give her two cans of Fix-A-Flat when she bought the car, brand new. That's her spare tire.
I threw those away, Hansson. Now I just have a cell phone.
And even new cars are you know, doing that. If you go down to the dealership, there are quite a few cars that, you know, give you a can of sealant.
Okay.
And
Now,
unfortunately, I've had a lot of complaints. People wind up being somewhere and they don't have a spare, and a big old hole got poked in the sidewall.
Yep.
And then the car, of course, has to be towed.
and that's now, speaking of a sealant in the tire, say you have a nail, side of the road, it's flat, you put the run flat sealant in it, you get the car up where you're able to get where you're going. Now, what is it, and now you and I know about that, but a lot of people don't realize that sealant is not supposed to stay in there very long at all. How long can it stay in there before detrimental effects to the inner tire start to take
Usually
place?
24 hours.
Really? That
And
short a
we
time?
see a lot of tires that, you know, people have gone a week and it's already started to eat the inner liner of the tire.
Whoa, can't do
And
anything.
a lot of times we see tires, oh, this tire started to separate, and we take it off, and of course it's got Fix-A-Flat inside.
So Fix-A-Flat is a double-edged sword. Not only it gets you out of a jam maybe, but if you leave that in there for an extended period of time, more than 24 hours, it could start to destroy the tire from the inside out. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Oh,
It
wow.
will. I mean,
No,
bar none. It's not a permanent fix, and some people like to put 3 or 4 cans in there, and that really winds up being a dangerous situation, you know, where I've seen, you know, the sidewalls completely blow out.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, speaking of putting things in tires that are not supposed to stay in there for a long period of time, like Fix-A-Flat, there is something you can put in these big truck tires. You know, sometimes you get these big truck tires that are out of balance. They take a lot of weight to get them. And you were showing me a few years ago about these little balls, teeny tiny little balls that go inside truck tires to balance a tire. How does that work for people out there that may have a problem with truck tires that seem to be out of balance, that can't seem to get them balanced correctly?
Well, you know, they've used this technology for 30, 40 years, and really it's nothing new. They've used sand, and now they're using nylon balls. What happens is static electricity gets built up in the tire, and then these balls tend to migrate to the lowest part of the tire, which is, you know, the part that's going to be off balance, and they stick there. And so it counterbalances
So this balance, as you're driving, it balances itself. But when you stop, everything kind of goes back to normal again, or the status.
It usually doesn't. It depends. If the vehicle sits there for several days, it has a tendency to do that.
Okay.
But then as you start driving it again, about 10 or 15 miles down the road, the tires will start to be balanced again, because
Okay.
those beads or the sand will move back to the lower spot on the tire.
Now, most truck tires are, and correct me if I'm wrong, are they still bias ply tires? Is that one of the reasons they ride rough when they're so cold? Or
No,
I don't know.
bias ply is really a thing of the past.
I didn't know. I didn't know if they were or not.
They still make tires for trailers
Mm-hmm.
that are bias ply, but the reality is I don't even sell those anymore, because there's really not any price difference any
Okay.
longer between bias ply tires. Used to be cheaper versus steel belted radials,
Okay.
and that's just not true anymore.
So what?
And you're going to get much better service in the long run with a radial tire than you will with a bias ply tire.
Now, what about trailer tires? What is we talk about car tires and truck tires not being more than 5 years old. A lot of people have trailers that they only use maybe once or twice a year to go skiing with or whatever they have to do. How old should the tires be on trailers?
Well, trailers are very unique in my opinion, because people forget about the tires on there until they towed their boat or their camper, and then all of a sudden they have a blowout. And, realistically, I would say 3 to 4 years, and most people probably won't like to hear that.
I know they don't.
But
Yes.
that the trailer sits around quite a bit, even with the radial, that puts pressure on a certain spot.
Mhm.
That when you start going down the road, you wind up having a little bit of a flat spot in the tire, and then over time, as you're driving it, that flat spot wants to straighten back out, and you wind up getting a separation in the tire.
So the reality is, no matter what kind of tire you have, whether it's on a motorcycle, a trailer, a car, a truck, once tires get more than 5 years old, you should think very, very seriously about getting rid of them, because they're potential time bombs.
Yeah, and you even see that, like you said, with a motorcycle. I've seen it on motorcycles.
Oh yeah,
Which is, I've had my motorcycle sit, in the garage for 5 years, and then I went to drive it, and the
Boom.
tire just completely, basically blew out.
That's not a safe thing to happen when you're going down the road at
No.
45 miles an hour on two wheels. It really isn't a very good thing.
If that's part of the cost of ownership, and I think anybody that I talk to is try to educate them. Like even my kids, I said, hey, how old are those tires, or how many miles you have on those tires? Think about saving up over the next year to make sure that you're going to be safe on the road, so that you can afford to buy another set of tires.
Well, that's a good thing to do. I tell people who own cars, used cars especially, any car, put $150 a month in a savings account for your car. If you would do that, you will have enough money for the entire time you own the car to take care of all maintenance, all repairs that need to be done, and keep your car in tip-top shape. Because if I'm not mistaken, about $150 a month is what it costs to maintain a car year-round, and that's just something I've noticed over the years. Do you agree with that? Is that a good statement?
I think that's a very good amount. Not only does it teach you how to save money, but also that you are able to fix it. If
Right.
something happens, like a radiator blows out, or water pump, or
Yep.
tires, or brakes, or anything, you're not in a pickle thinking about how you're going to pay for it. You've thought about the repair. Okay, no
Yep.
problem. Get it fixed, and you move on.
That's how it works. Thank you so much for being on here, Hansson. We're up against the clock. 873-8900. Baytown Tires, from can to can't in the morning to can at night. From 7 to 5:30 every day?
What'd you say, from 10 to 10?
No, from can to can't. That's how long your hours are, from can in the morning to can at night. You work so hard, so long.
We're here for you. We're here from 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and 7:30 to 1 on Saturday.
All right, Hansson. Sounds good. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye now.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guarantee.